Welcome to Art Loves Fashion. I'm your host, Sharonda Irving. I'm an image consultant, professional developer, art curator and collector, a wife and a mom. This show, Art Loves Fashion, is about, you guessed it, art, love, and fashion. We'll be meeting new people, trying interesting things, and hopefully learning something new. Sounds kind of vague, right? That's because I want you to join me on Sundays at 5 o'clock as we take a journey of all things creative and beautiful with art, loves, fashion. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Art Loves Fashion. I am your host, Sharonda Irving, and welcome to a conversation about all things creative and beautiful. I am super excited because I have one of my loves, this is one of my long distance loves, joining me for the show today. We're going to be talking about fashion, and we're going to be talking about love today. So let's get right into it. Hey guys, this is Sharonda Irving, image consultant and host of Art Loves Fashion. If you missed today's episode, don't worry, don't stress. You can go to my YouTube channel and see today's episode, as well as some of my other past episodes. You'll be able to see some of my super fantastic guests, as well as fun content. If you enjoyed the show, please make sure that you leave me something in the comments. Don't forget, our airing schedule is every second and fourth Sunday from 5 to 6 o'clock. Tune in with me live on Facebook and on YouTube. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. All right, so let's get into it. My guest today is Deanna Salomon. Salomon, right?
Salomon, yeah.
Because my father's name is Solomon with an S-O-L-O. And I was like, okay, the way yours is spelled, do you still say Solomon?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So that's S-A-L. So Salomon, yeah.
Say it again.
Salomon.
Oh, I like it. Introduce yourself. This is Deanna Salomon of Every Thing Luxebrand. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Yes. We've been kind of playing tag a little bit, get Deanna here on the show. So I'm super excited. Tell the people a little bit about, first, let's talk about Everything Luxebrand and what that is.
Right. So again, Sharonda, thanks so much for having me. And yes, it's been some back and forth, but we're here. Yes. And I'm so happy to be here, So Everything Luxebrand, what can I say about it? It is a brand that is still in the making. It's a brand that is still evolving, as most brands do. And it's basically all about accessories, all about just adding those special touches to your wardrobe to make you happy, to make you feel special. And I've been doing this for a minute, like with many businesses or, your hobbies, you'd start off as like a side hustle, and it was for many years. And it's truly a passion of mine, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, I need to do this wholeheartedly. And that's what I'm doing. That's what I'm working on.
So Deanna specializes in accessories. You have an online store, and you do everything from hats to kind of like capes and scarves to also jewelry and sunglasses and things like that.
Correct.
Including hair wear. I couldn't find my earrings, but
looking beautiful. Beautiful.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So you said you've been doing this for a while. How did you get started doing this business? And I know that it's changed a little bit over time. So how did you get started, and what was the evolution of your business like?
Okay, so let's just, can we start with the evolution first?
Sure. Wherever you want to start.
I want to paint a picture. So, I don't mean to sound cliche, but as far as the accessories, I get it from my mom. You know, she was heavy into costume jewelry. Her and my dad, they used to go out a lot of balls and, you know, things like that. So, you know, as a child, very young, like I remember when I was like almost like 4 years old, I'm in her jewelry box and, you know, playing like, you know, most girls do, right? We play dress up. So I've always had an affinity for that, for accessories, costume stuff. You know, I wore gold jewelry, you know, things like that growing up, but I've always loved accessories. And I got into it a little bit more in high school. I went to high school in Manhattan and I had a job in not the garment district, but like the wholesale district, right? And you
Yes.
know, people in the fashion world, you know, everybody knows about the garment district, fabrics and things like that in the 30s and 40s. Well, the Notion garment, like anything from zippers and buttons and things like that, that area is located like in the 20s, 28th Street, 29th Street, 30th Street. And in 11th grade, I worked for a Notion company after work. So going to that job, I would pass these wholesalers that sold sunglasses, bags, earrings, and I just was like a kid in the candy store. I was like, oh my God, this is right up my alley, right?
And and that
okay.
was back before the internet. That was back
before,
you know, so when back then people would go to those sections and buy everything and then resell, or like people who were creative would go to the Notions and the garments and like jazz their stuff up and put. You see people doing it today, but back then people really went to the like brick and mortar. So you worked over there.
Exactly.
That's a fun area to work in.
Yep. And you know, it's so
kind of stuff.
Yeah, things have changed, but like back then, you know, it's kind of like dirty and dusty, you know, New York City. But then, yeah, you would have some fabulous stores as well, you know. So again, that was like high school. Then college came, and I remember when I came back home, I started with accessories again, you know, and it started with me wearing some stuff, and some friends was like, "Oh, I like that, you know, where'd you get it or whatever?" And look, I'm selling it. So it kind of started with that a little bit, not heavy into accessories. I got into selling clothing, and this is when I was in my early 20s. And I mean, straight up, like how you hear stories of people selling clothes out of the trunk of their car, like that was me. Like I would bring the garments to either your home. I did a lot of hair salons back in the days. So I had my core group of customers, my ladies, who, you know, I used to sell things for, sell garments to. So that's how I kind of started. And again, like I said, it was always like bits and pieces, you know, sell here, always a side hustle, I should say, you know, but I never stopped doing it. I never stopped doing it, you know, and it's now have snowballed into something that, you know, I'm like, I just need to do this full time, or, you know, get to a place where I'm doing it full time because I obviously love it.
I know that's right. So, you know, the interesting thing to me is, do you miss, because, you know, we are at that age where we remember, like I talk to a lot of my friends who I started out in the beauty industry with. And we always talk about, you know, you always are nostalgic about the good old days. Do you miss that, like that salon atmosphere? A lot of salons nowadays don't really like for vendors to come into the shops and things like that for, you know, understandable reasons. But one of the things that I always think about is, you know how they talk about the barbershop.
Right.
How the barbershop was the place where, you know, you get the news and the men and the well, the beauty salon was also where the women went and got all the things they needed. That was like, that's all right, because I know Saturday, you know, Deanna gonna come through with the and, you know, do you miss that aspect of the business, or it's like, no, girl, I can.
No. I mean, you know what? It was good when it was happening, obviously. I mean, I would say I just kind of miss maybe meeting new people, you know, but as far as the toiling of, you know, the bags and going from here to there, I'm a little older now, obviously, so I don't miss that aspect of it. But I do kind of miss, you know, meeting new people. And, you know, that's one way you would, and that's one way you would generate customers. But, you know, you're right. You can always depend on somebody coming in to that barber shop or that beauty salon, and girl, you get your whole outfit for that night, head to toe.
Absolutely.
Head to toe.
Pick up some fire.
Yes.
And it'd be something that nobody has. Nobody,
That's
I told one of my friends, I was talking to my husband about how the salon days, because we actually met in the salon.
Oh, wow.
He was a client.
Okay.
And I was doing nails and brows full time then. But I was saying how, for us as workers in the salon, I was grateful because we didn't really have time to go shopping, really, especially if it was something going on that weekend, you could get some. But we would get not only clothes, people would come and sell jewelry.
Oh, yeah.
Food, obviously. They would come through there, and I'm talking about good stuff.
Good stuff. Oh,
and
yeah.
It was legit businesses. It just was, that's where the customer base was at. Exactly. They knew if they came in that salon on a Friday evening or a Saturday morning, they were going to get their money.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Sell out. And that people will be like, you going to come back next week? All right, I'm going to be back here next week to get your blah, blah, blah. And it was a whole
it was the vibe.
Commerce.
Yeah,
a whole commerce is not the word, but like a whole economy going on.
Yeah,
through the salons.
Absolutely. You
had your regulars who knew what Saturday they came.
Yeah. And not only that, sometimes, when you would meet them and they were like, whatever you had, they're like, give me a call. Let me know if you're going to get that in another size. And you would even have once in a blue, some of them even came with shoes. Some of them even came with shoes. You didn't see too much of that. Definitely the clothes, the jewelry, the accessories, all of that good stuff. But once in a blue, honey, when they would come in with the shoes, that would sell out. And like you said, good vendors, honey. I'm talking about from Saks, Blooming's, okay? They had the goods.
Yeah. So fast forward, you were selling, mobile boutique.
Yeah.
And then here comes the internet, because we are in that age bracket that we saw the evolution of the internet and online selling. And so you pivoted to online. And then you phased out your clothing?
So yeah, pretty much I did. And I want to say maybe because once it became online, not saying I didn't have a handle on it, but it was like, I need to really pinpoint who my audience is when it comes to clothing. Like, I know what I like and what I would want to push out there, but then you get requests from so many people, especially online. You post something on Instagram, or on the internet, you're going to get people from all over. Oh, can you get me this? Or what about that? So I'm just like, yeah, those things I really don't really want to sell, but I can get it for you type of thing. And then I was like, you know what? Let me scale down. And as much as I love fashion and clothing, I'm like, accessories is really my passion. Accessories, that add-on, whatever it is, it takes to complement your look. I'm like, that's really me, So, and it's funny how you asked that about the clothing, because a customer, she's still my current client now. She said, D, what about the clothes? Are you going to do clothes again? And I said, I'm the type, never say never. But I'm like, right now, no, maybe down the line. Maybe I'll do a partnership or a collab, something like that. But for right now, let me niche it down to what I'm truly passionate about, what I know, what I breathe, and it's accessories. So,
that's a really powerful business tip. You ask yourself, who is my audience? Who is my customer? What is it that I want to specialize in? So that you're not spinning your wheels, kind of being broad and not really hitting the target that you want to hit. And so once you scaled down, did you feel like you were more successful? Were you more successful, or was it more about a peace of mind, or was it both?
It was a little bit of both. And I don't want to say that I lost some customers, but I did notice that the customers that were heavy on the clothes might not be the ones that are heavy on accessories.
Right.
So they would chime in and still order things, but they were all about the clothes, which is fine.
Yes.
So it was like a little bit of both, but that's okay. That's fine. So as far as the success, I honestly think I'm doing better with the accessories. And when I say success, not just monetarily, no, I'm just talking about peace of mind. I'm talking about I'm able to focus better. I definitely have a more clearer path. So just honing down on accessories, that has given me relief, to be honest,
Which is
and
important.
yeah, absolutely. Because like you said, you can be all over the place, especially when it comes to accessories. Accessories, it's not really easy, it's not, as a business owner trying to get your stuff out there, because even with that, it's like, okay, so she sells hats. I do like hats. She sells glasses, she sells so much stuff. Like, what is it that I really want? What is it that she's really trying to sell? So again, like I said, I'm still evolving, but yeah, accessories is it.
So on that note, right, you kind of segued me into my next question, or, in terms of, like you said, accessories is really still a broad category, and customers are looking to the vendor sometimes for help on what they want to get. Right. And so, like, for me as an image consultant, I not only work with clients around wardrobe, but also around accessories. So what kind of, I'm sure that your clients are like, what do you think about, what should I buy? How does that play into the way that you, like, do you like give your clients recommendations and all that kind of stuff? Like, I'm sure they're like, what should I buy? What do you think about this? Are they asking you for advice and all that kind of stuff?
Yeah. So when it comes to clothing, usually they come to me after they already have the outfit, which is great, because if I'm selling
so for the accessories though, do they like hit you up like, oh, what kind of, will these look right on me? Will that look right on me?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. So, and again, it depends on, what it is, but say, for example, sunglasses, right? And again, when it comes to sunglasses, 9 times out of 10, you kind of know your type of sunglasses, that you kind of pick out. And if it's something different, you need to try it on and things like that. I'm virtual, so, and I kind of still go out there. With me, you really don't get a chance to try it on unless, we're in person. So that's a little tricky, right? So when it comes to eyewear, most of my customers are people that are local or people who have bought from me before, because I can get to them, they can try it on. If I do any type of event, of course, people, try it on. But overall, just say somebody would actually, what, you have a pair of sunglasses, that I like, but I'm not too sure how they would fit on me, how they will look on me. Then I would kind of guide them into, about like their face shape and things like that, and how a square may complement a round face versus a round face with a round type of frame. So yeah, there are conversations, about that, and what accessory would look nice with a jumpsuit that I just bought. So yeah, I do get those questions a lot. And then even if I don't have it in stock or online, I'm always there to, what, I got you. Let me see what I can find for you. I do my research, shoot them the pictures or whatever. They see what they like, and boom, you get it. So, I definitely offer that as well. Huh?
Something I did not know.
Yes, yeah. I do that.
One of the things that is interesting. So the whole window of, or like the whole lane of accessories, like you said, some people are heavy into clothes, some people are heavy into accessories. How do you feel like, clearly you have a passion for accessories because you kind of see how it elevates, but like accessories as a genre of fashion, like what's your, like, why are accessories important?
it's important to me because it just like creates the whole uniform, to be honest. You know, I mean, you can have that LBD, right? That little black dress. And it's just a little black dress. To be honest, it's nothing really special until you add on. So now you have to say to yourself, okay, well, what am I into? What can I wear, or what will complement my little black dress? You know, so is it going to be a bold statement earring? If you're not into big earrings, what else can it be? Are you into bracelets? You know, can I wear a hat with it? You know, so accessories will always have a place in fashion. Otherwise, you know, you're just a plain Jane. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's nothing wrong with that. But, you know, you need something to kind of jazz up your look.
And you know what? It's such a big deal from the standpoint of, one of the things with my clients is like having transitional pieces, right? Mm-hmm. Of clothing. Well, your accessories can change the whole vibe of that one piece. Like you said, the LBD that you're wearing, mm-hmm. you can make it look fancy with your accessories. You can make it look boho with your accessories. Mm-hmm. You can make it look simple, understated. You can give it a little bit of edge. You know, you can take your LBD, put your bamboo earrings on and your
absolutely,
you know, baseball cap and your sneakers.
And give it a whole other vibe.
And give it a different vibe versus putting on, you know, a sparkly earring and, you know, a big cuff or whatever, mm-hmm. and make it look a little bit more like you're going out to dinner.
Right.
So that whole, like, how does accessories can kind of like influence the whole vibe.
Absolutely. As it should, because, you know, again, going back to the little black dress, you know, there's some people that they're not into like evening wear or going out, but they may have a wedding to go to, right? So they know, okay, I have to wear a dress. All right. And I have to do a little something. I'm not into big earrings. I'm not into a hat. You know, can you help me, or can you guide me? What should I wear? So say for somebody like that, who's really understated, it could be some nice studs, nice diamond studs, maybe just a nice cocktail ring, just something that's not going to take away from who you are. You know, you never want to look like you're trying too hard with accessories, and that's a whole other, you know, conversation. And again, which is okay, because sometimes it's less is more, and sometimes more is more, right?
Yes.
But again, for like somebody who's not the dress up type, but again, like I said, they have to go to this wedding. Yeah, I'm not going to put them or suggest them to wear something that's really not them, where they feel uncomfortable. You know, you could look fabulous, you know, with some bling that is to your taste. You know what I'm saying? That is to your level as far as size or how it looks. So, you know,
yes,
look, definitely something for everybody.
It absolutely is. Look, when you said you don't want to look like you're trying too hard, you said I don't want to get into it. I'm like, okay, wait a minute, no,
let's get into it.
Let's get into it. Because you know that's a thing. Like, you know, how is it that a person, what communicates that a person is trying too hard? What is that?
Just say, you know, when they just kind of look a mess, like, wait, look, we're being honest here, right? I mean, a mess meaning that, okay, you could see that there was some effort, but maybe they missed the mark, and maybe they just was trying too hard. They want to look, I don't know, extra, but you can look extra and look fab. We see that all day. You're extra and fab. I feel I'm extra and fab sometimes as well, you know, but obviously it's personal, but like we know the ones that they're trying and, you know, looks good, but they just might have missed the mark a little bit, you know?
The thing that I say to people is that when you're wearing something that is not authentically your vibe and your style, if you are the understated type, don't come out with a peacock feather headband on.
Of course.
Because it's not authentically you. Like, there's a way to be extra even for the minimalist.
Exactly.
There's a way to be extra for the extra person can go extra. And it's funny because if a person is extra and then all of a sudden here they come with like, they just got on diamond studs and a watch.
You're like, what? You're like, what's going on? What happened to you? You okay? Yeah, exactly. Yep. And then not only that, Sharonda, like when a person is trying too hard, they're not even comfortable. Why? Because again, they're not being their authentic self with what they're wearing.
Yeah.
You know, so you're trying to make a statement. I get it, you know, but yet you probably don't feel as great as you should if you were being your authentic self with your accessories.
Which adds to the problem. So you look uncomfortable and you acting uncomfortable now.
Yep. Yeah.
It's important.
Yeah, it is.
I guess the last thing that I was thinking about in terms of like the power of accessories, I know during the shutdown time, you know, people were, so here's the interesting thing. I've heard people who have online businesses say that they did well during the shutdown because people were really shopping.
Right. They were.
But also now accessories started to be a little bit more important for some people because you only got this much space to express yourself. What did you know? Did you notice any change?
Oh yeah, for sure. So from waist up, you would see more earrings. You know, when we're on Zoom, we talk with our hands. So, you know, you may wear a ring now, you may have some bracelets on. And, you know, we know from waist down, it might be pajama pants or little shorts, but from waist up, we have to, you know, look good. So, I mean, you're right. People were shopping, people were buying accessories. It was about the earrings big time. It was about the necklaces as well, you know? So yeah, accessories played a huge part, you know, since COVID.
Are you seeing any changes now that outside is open?
People are just still, you know what I'm seeing? I'm seeing that people are wanting to celebrate life more. You understand? So what does that mean? You know, that means gathering with family and friends. That means, you know, looking good. Like people are really going into their closet. They're still shopping, yes, but they're going into their closet and they're putting on that fly ass outfit just to go to the store, just to go to the supermarket, you know, to help them feel good because we're in some times, you know, we were talking about that before we started our session about what's going on. So anything to make you feel better, you know, and we know that regardless of what people may say, when you look good, you feel good.
Yeah.
When you look good, you feel good.
Fashion makes a difference.
Yeah, absolutely. So definitely seeing a lot of people, you know, dressing up, you know, to do quote unquote regular things, you know, it's no more, oh, I have a reason to, you know, and you know what, it shouldn't be. We have to celebrate life. So if it means wearing those big sparkly earrings just because, wear it.
Yes. 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 Well, I know I have a couple of request items. Write these down.
Let me know. You know,
I've been working out a lot and my hair is I need some, I kind of like that little, I've never done this and I see it all the time and people look so cute. And I said, you know what? I'm gonna go ahead and
you look fly.
I have to go somewhere.
I love it. I love it.
I got to go someplace.
Look, and not only that, look, my accessories right now, my hats, girl, because braid action. So
yes.
This is how I try to adorn
braids. Hats. I've always been a hat girl.
Me too.
But hats are getting big. In the past, I've noticed the past like 2 seasons, I've been seeing a lot of hats
trending like crazy. And to be honest, you know, well, certain things I hate saying the word trends because to me, hats are timeless. They're classic. They've never been played out. Styles evolve. I get that. So of course, you're seeing a lot of Panama hats. You're seeing the fedoras. You're seeing the rancher hats, which I love. I'm a fan of ranchers. You're seeing some bowler hats. You're seeing so many, you know, nice styles that have come into play. So hats in general isn't a trend. The styles of hats are. But yeah, you're right. I mean, both men and women. Like my husband, he's not a big hat wearer, but he's starting to get into some hats. And I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Because years ago, people used to wear the newsboy caps and the Applejack hats. And I think those are so cute, but I think they look, I don't like them on me, but
I love
those
them.
come back in for, maybe I'll wear one of those for the winter.
Yeah.
Nice little wool, sweet little hounds. All right. Start looking for
Look, noted. Let me see. Sharon's
right. Needs a newsboy cap.
Yeah.
So on that note, you mentioned husband. So we're going to transition into our love segment. That's smooth. That's
love it.
Hey. Right. Listen, that's going to be the after show listening on the playlist.
Okay.
So we are back once again with Deanna Salomon of Everything Luxebrand. And we've been talking about the importance of accessories in your wardrobe and the importance of accessories in the world of fashion, because she told us accessories will always have a place in fashion, honey. Yes. Week. So I'm gonna look and see before we transition into our love segment. Do you have any fashion forecasts for accessories?
Just overall, hats are big. They're gonna be here for a while. Specific styles, as I mentioned before, the fedoras, the Panamas, ranches are really big. So if you're into hats, check them out. I'm trying to think like specifically for the fall, like what's big. Necklaces, chunky styles. Rings, stackable rings are big for the fall.
Okay.
Earrings, we're still on statement earrings, as well. And I think that's pretty much it. As far as sunglasses, you have your shield types that's been going on for a couple seasons. That's still big for the fall. And usually shields are like for the summer. You see a lot of people wearing that style of frame during the summer months, but it's still going on for the fall, as well as a heavier style of frame. So by that I mean like you don't see aviators as much, although it's classic. Aviator style sunglasses are classic.
Aviator.
I'm an aviator girl too. I do too. And one thing about aviators, let me say this quickly. That's one style of frame that if you're not sure how any other frame looks on you, an aviator style will go with any shape face. You can have a triangle face, that aviator is going to fit you, So for all the sunglass lovers or people who are, may want to get into sunglasses or they're not sure, an aviator style frame rocks with any face shape that you may have. So
that's good to know, everybody. That's good to know. So if you're into sunglasses or not, an aviator should be in your arsenal of
shades, for sure.
Absolutely.
For sure. Timeless classic. Yep.
So let's go ahead and transition into love. Deanna was gracious enough to, one of the things that I've been married. This year we celebrated our 21st anniversary. And Deanna, thank you.
Nice, honey.
Beautiful. We get a lot of questions around, what's the secret and, that kind of thing. And one of the things that my husband and I talk about is this idea around like how many people either had role models coming up or even current younger couples or couples who are early on in their marriages, like how many people like have role models and people in their community that have been married. And so you and your husband have been married for 18 years. So I said, stick around and let's have a conversation,
of course,
around love and marriage and hashtag Black love and marriage.
That's right.
So first of all, yes, kudos to you too for 18 years.
Thank you.
So tell me, what's your love story with your husband?
what's the love story? It's
How did y'all meet? How did
Oh yeah.
kick off?
Yeah. So we met in kindergarten. It's crazy. We met in kindergarten. And not only that, we're both from Queens and we lived on the same street. So not the same block, like how you have a block, but the same street. So I lived, say, block 1. He was 3 blocks down from me. So not only were we classmates in kindergarten and first grade, we're also from the same community. So I've known my husband since we were 5. Didn't know obviously he's gonna be my husband, but we've known each other since we were 5 years old. We have pictures of our kindergarten or first grade play that we were in together. It's crazy, right? It's bugged out. I say that all the time. So yeah.
So okay. So did y'all go to school together all the way up through, or did y'all like move away, or what?
Yeah. So after first grade, he went to a different school. So as far as schooling, we weren't, obviously in the same schools for the rest of our lives, but I would see him occasionally because like to get to the main avenue where the stores are and things like that, and even to catch the bus, he would have to pass my house. So, it's like, oh yeah, I remember him. We were in kindergarten and first grade together. We still remembered each other's names and things like that. So it was always like, how you doing? How you doing? Type of thing. And it wasn't until we were in our 20s, he was living in Atlanta at the time, and we bumped into each other in a sneaker store. And it was like one of those, those look agains. And it's like, yo, I know him. And it was like, is your name Deanna? I was like, is your name Erwin? And that's how it started. Exchange numbers, and here we are.
Wait a minute. That is so cute. Wait, so I need to know. Y'all bumped into each other in New York or in Atlanta?
New York. Okay. And it's funny because he was living in Atlanta at the time. I was up here, but he would come home. His parents still lived 3 blocks from me. So, we would frequent the same malls and things like that. But again, like I said, it was like a spoof. We walked in there and I'm like, yo, I know that dude. And I'm like, that's Erwin. And
now, when you saw him, were you like, oh, he grew up, he's cute?
Yeah, I mean, exactly. Because to be honest, and it's so funny when we tell the story, it's always 2 versions. But the truth is, I mean, I was the one that called him, and that's okay, because I saw something that I liked, and I'm like, let's see, where it goes.
So you called him?
I called him.
What did you say?
Girl, I don't remember, but he was working for a record company down in Atlanta at the time. So I believe he had an assistant. So I didn't have his personal number. He gave me, the company's number.
He gave you the...
Yeah. Yeah. Yep, I believe so. Exactly. So I called, his assistant took the message and he called me back. So, and to me, that was the test. I was like, if he calls, he calls. If he doesn't, then it's all good.
Right.
Yeah.
He was like, so what's up with you? You looking, I saw you in the mall the other day. He was looking kind of good. Da, 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 da.
Mm-hmm. What you been up to? What you doing in ATL? Blah, blah, blah. And we started kicking it, little long distance. Nothing obviously serious. He's down there doing his thing. I'm up here doing my thing. But he invited me to the 96 Olympics down there. And like that was like our first date. And we started hanging out. And then he ended up moving back to New York. And yeah, and it's so funny. I was still living at home at the time. He moved back and he was staying at his parents' house. So we're like 3 blocks up from each other. So yeah.
Wow. Mm-hmm. That is so cute. That now I did not see that coming. That's so cute. So that is one of those, like, that's a movie. That's a, like,
it's something.
Love and Basketball, or like,
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Because go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, I just want to say, and what's so crazy is he has an infectious smile and a laugh. And it's like, I always remember that. He was like such a nice little boy. in kindergarten. You know, when you little and, you know, you have the classmates that are like are the bullies and like the ones that might tease the girls and stuff. He wasn't like that. So not just, oh yeah, he's a boy that was in my class. I just always remember him being just really nice and just having a real nice demeanor, you know? So that was on top of, you know, seeing him years later as a grown man looking like that piece of candy. And I was like, yeah, let me see what's up with that. Okay. And I did.
and obviously you made the right choice because it's been 18 years.
18 years, yeah.
So what was your parents, what was their reaction like knowing that that was one of the kids from down the street? Did they even know his family at all?
No, no. But it was like, you know, once I showed my mom my kindergarten class picture, she was like, oh my gosh. So I guess maybe that just made her feel either more relieved or, you know what, you know, we do have some things in common, you know, as far as living in the same community, being immigrants from a Caribbean background, you know, things like that. So yeah, I mean, and not just that, not just the picture, you know, when she met him, you know, and my dad, he was just pleasant. So from day one, there was never like, you know, I don't know about that young man. He seemed shady or, you know, anything like that. It was always positive.
That's a big plus, like, or a really interesting concept, the fact that he grew up right down the street from you, because there is a certain amount of shared experience,
exactly,
a certain amount of like you said, things in common. We're from the same place, so we kind of have similar outlooks on things,
right? Perspectives on things, you know. And I mean, even till, you know, this day, you know, we talk about the old neighborhood, like, yo, remember so and so on 220 something street, and like, yeah, you know. So I mean, that is something that one of the things that I don't say kept us together, but something that we always talk about, something that we have, you know, some common ground on, you know. And we love telling our story, especially to people, you know, about, you know, how we met and the people that we know from growing up. So I think that's special, you know.
Absolutely. So look, the tip is, if you see, like you said, you saw something, you were like, I'm calling him. Go ahead and shoot your shot, ladies.
Shoot your shot. And I mean, don't get me wrong. I was a confident, young, good looking, you know, such and such. So I'm like, if he doesn't call, I'm okay. But it was just something about him, you know, because it's weird. I mean, that wasn't like my character back then to let me call this guy. Like, I'm not chasing anybody. Like, that was my thing. Like, no, if you like me, you can approach me. I'm approachable, but I'm not chasing no dude. But it was just something, you know, about him. I just was like, let me give this a try. Let me just see. And like I said, you know, it worked. So don't be afraid, ladies. You know, sometimes you just gotta just step out of your comfort zone and try. At the end of the day, the most somebody can say is no. That's it.
Yeah, absolutely. So now you grew up with both your parents, and he did too.
Yes, both parents, both married. You know, his dad is deceased, my father is deceased, but our parents, you know, still married until, you know, obviously that time. So, and that plays I believe in, at least in our relationship, I can't speak about anybody else's, that has played a huge part in our marriage. You know,
in what way?
In knowing that you're in this together, and knowing that everything is not going to be glory and you're not going to have ups all the time. And I mean, that's crazy for anybody who is married to say, oh, everything is good 100. No, it's not, you know. And we see them and saw them as a role model, you know, as far as what marriage looks like, you know, how they can argue but then come back together, you know. So that has definitely have been, I believe, the forefront in our marriage, looking at our parents' marriages. And no marriage is perfect, we all know that, or at least we should. And we definitely take notes on that, you know.
Yeah. That the role model piece is such an interesting thing, because like you said, both of you all have role models for to kind of at least know your marriage is not going to be the same as your parents or the same as his parents, but that knowing that like you said, the arguments happen. Every day isn't an adventure in that we're not always having fun. Sometimes it's just a regular routine day to day
routine thing.
And you see that and you know that that's part of the entire journey. I think the challenging piece is the fact that if you don't realize that 18 years is 365 days times 18, and every day ain't gonna be date night, ain't gonna be, flowers on your door. Some days it's just get up, go to work, come home,
and that's it. Yeah.
But going into it, knowing that actually is what it is, and there's a beauty in that predictability, in that there's a beauty in that the sameness of it is a beauty to that, because you create a rhythm with another person.
Right. And to add on to that, you kind of know what to expect. So if I grew up, 2-parent household, and I never saw an argument, and they was just, whether they hid it from us, but everything seemed perfect. And I go into a marriage and I think everything is going to be perfect, because that's all I saw and that's all I experienced. And then there's a hiccup. Like, how am I going to come back from that? You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I thank God for them, because they pretty much gave us the real. They gave us the real. And yes, it's different experiences, but it all, comes down to kind of like the same thing. You are going to have ups and downs. It's not going to be fabulous every day. Make sure you guys stay true to each other, love on each other, and you get through.
Yeah. So what do you say when people come and say, what's the secret? Because people always say that to us, what's the secret?
Yeah, like, you've been married, oh my gosh, how? Or not so much like how did that happen, but again, like you said, like, what's the secret? One of the things that not only I say, but I practice is, don't go to bed angry. Whatever the argument is, the disagreement is, try to hash it out before you go to bed, so that when you wake up, that's gone. You don't want to wake up to that energy. It's hard, and it's not about having to agree when you do go to bed, but it shouldn't be in a state of, I'm still pissed at him or I'm still upset at her. You understand? So
first of all, you ain't sleeping. First of all,
that's what I'm saying.
It ain't no going to bed anyway. You're not gonna go to sleep while I'm still this mad. We're gonna keep talking this thing out.
Exactly.
Because nobody's sleeping anyway. When you're that mad, you just laying in the bed mad,
frustrated, can't sleep, wanting to kill a person, whatever, all those thoughts come in your mind. So and don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that every single time that can happen, but try your best not to go to bed angry at each other.
Meaning, and what that really means, what I'm thinking you mean is like, talk about it.
Talk about it. Exactly. Talk about it.
Don't just stew over it.
Right.
And just turn over and be mad. Talk about it.
Talk about it. And I mean, something like that isn't easy for everybody, it really isn't. So, and that's how come when you hear, communication is key. It is. It really is key to a successful marriage. You have to be able to communicate. Yeah. And if you can't, that's when you go to counseling, things like that, to form that bridge. But yeah, communication is key. And it's crazy how you asked me that. I remember asking my dad this when he was alive, because my parents, they were married before he passed almost 50 years. Wow. I think like 48 years, something like that, right? Whoa, long time. And I remember asking him, I was like, Daddy, how are you and Mommy, married this long? Like, what's the secret? And his version, he told me, he said, don't have other people in your business. And he mainly said, like, in-laws, for whatever reason, like, don't let them influence you. This marriage is about your husband and your wife. Y'all are in this together. But I was like, okay, but that's one of the things he said. He was like, don't have other people in your ear, basically.
So was he a man, was he the type of dad that was like, you know, y'all work that out, we not getting involved as the parents, we're not.
So I mean, because of that advice and just, seeing how my parents dealt with their marriage, there was no, I'm not saying there weren't any outside influences, no, but whatever it was, they didn't let that interfere with their marriage, right? So for example, just say, quote unquote, my grandmother, my father's mother, didn't care for my mother or whatever. My father didn't let that sway anything. Right. It was like, yo, this is my wife. This is the mother of my kids, and that's that. You're gonna have to deal with it or not. And she had to suck it up. You know what I'm saying? So because of that, and I saw that there was no interference, there was nobody getting in, their ears or trying to destroy their marriage. I went into my marriage knowing that, like
that your spouse is first.
Exactly. So that pretty much rubbed off on me. And also him too. I mean, I never had a conversation with him and said, did you ever ask your parents what kept them, whatever? But it's probably pretty much along the same lines. Like they knew they're in it together. They're not letting people, family members influence anything from how to raise their children or anything like that. So.
That's a big one because I hear sometimes how people, especially like maybe people who have very close relationships either with their parents or with their siblings, it can be challenging because the siblings have a lot to say.
Yeah.
Or, and then the one person in the marriage is being influenced by the opinion of their family.
Right.
And then they're bringing all that outside noise into the relationship. And it's like, I think it's difficult for some people to come to the idea that your spouse is your family. So like, you have a sister or a brother or sisters and brothers, but your spouse is your family.
Absolutely.
And I think that some people have a hard time actually looking at it in that way. Like, this is my family and my family wouldn't steer me wrong. And, I do all these things, like, especially people who like, they get together with their siblings or, spend a lot. My sisters and my brother, they wouldn't steer me wrong. They have my back. And so they like stay in that same level or kind of relationship interaction with their family, but never really transition to that same kind of mindset with their spouse.
Yeah. Yep. And see, what's unfortunate, like when that happens, it starts forming little cracks, in the marriage, and that could lead to other things, So you just have to be strong. You have to be strong, Will, because you're right. You do have the influences. I'm not saying that you won't. Yeah, you will. But you have to be strong enough to, differentiate like, okay, yes, sis, you might be right, or no, you're totally wrong. And like you said, your spouse is your family. He comes first. Like once you're married.
Because when you've been with somebody for 18, 20 years, 25, 20,
yeah,
that's as much of a family relationship.
Of course. As you have like with your siblings.
Blood relative.
Yeah. Yep.
Sometimes like I just think about, so like my brother and I went away to college at 18. I've been with my husband for 26 years. I've been in a relationship with him like for the amount of years for like the longer than me and him is just been brothers and sisters, if that makes sense.
It does. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
So that amount of bonding time that me and my big brother had, he and I have had equally as long bonding time. So yeah, he's my family.
Absolutely.
So now let me ask you this, and I asked you this earlier, and the reason why I'm asking this is because I've come to this conclusion around I know you and your husband, y'all travel a lot and everything. So number one, obviously, I would say another secret is y'all have fun together.
Yeah, we do.
Y'all just came from doing a couple different little trips.
Yeah, we was on the vineyard the other day, and you know, you vacation and you have fun and things like that, and it's back to the grind. But it's so funny. We both said the other day that this was a really good summer. It really was a good summer, and especially our last trip, and mainly because, you know, we didn't do too much. Sometimes when you go on vacation, you know that saying, like you come back and it's like, I need a vacation from the vacation. I didn't feel it this time around.
Yeah.
So we had a lot of downtime. We got to chill. And, you know, like you say, we have fun together. We gel because things that we have in common, obviously, you know, we have the same affinity for music. We like to have fun. He's funny. I believe I'm a little funny too, you know, so things like that. And listen, humor is big. Humor is so big, I believe, in a relationship, you know. So I always mess with him. I'm like, yo, thank God you funny, man. Thank God you are funny, because listen, okay,
right? That's so true. Humor, because then too,
humor is important.
You find things to laugh at together. You find common ground to like smile about and lighten some of the life stressors.
Right.
Now, you and your husband, you don't have children.
Right.
And I was saying what my question was going to be was, you know, I find that people can be so, they have these automatic mindsets, like you get married, they're like, okay, now when you going to have kids? And then do you find that you had to do a lot of like explaining or like checking people on like, you know, that aspect of your lives?
Yeah. And you know what? No. When we first got married, you know, of course it was like, okay, when the baby, you know, that was coming. And then we're like, yeah, we'll get there, you know, and we just basically got older. And I'm gonna be honest, it's like, I know I'm maternal, you know, the fact that I've been an educator basically all my life, you know, it's crazy. Basically all my life, degrees in education, worked in a school. You know that story. Yes. But and kids gravitate towards me and things like that. But at the same note, and my friend pointed this out years ago. You know, we were talking about that kid. She has children, stuff like that. And you know, she was like, "Dee, you enjoy your freedom." She was like, "So don't beat yourself up. Don't." She's like, "And that's okay. You like your freedom." And I had to sit back and I'm like, you know what, I do, you know? So to your question about, do I get questioned a lot? I haven't in a long time, like years, you know? And if people happen to say, well, why or why not? I said, it just wasn't in the cards, you know? Or it's none of your business now, but you know, really,
that's where I was going with it. That's really where I was going with it.
Come on now.
I find that we as a, I don't know if it's a society.
Yeah, as a society.
We tend to think that it is
automatic.
Okay to ask a woman about her reproductive life.
Yeah, I don't think it is. Me personally, you know, and to be honest, Sharonda, I don't get offended. I just dismiss it, you know? So I'm not like, why are you asking me that? No, I just honestly kind of, you know, dismiss it.
Yeah.
So
people ask all kinds of intrusive questions about a woman's reproductive life. You don't have kids. Why you ain't have
Why
kids?
not?
When you want to have more? You need to get that man these babies.
Exactly.
You need to give that baby a sibling. All of these, like,
yeah,
sir, ma'am, family. You all the way in a territory that is really not your business.
Right. You're right. You're right.
And but, you know, and to be honest, I think that, you know, your friend was right. Like, hey, you're enjoying your freedom. People who don't have children are out here having in a marriage having a great time, honey. I would look like, okay, dear, y'all be going and doing all kinds of, then, you know, parents have to wait a whole
I know.
18, 20 years
Yes.
ago
Mm-hmm.
do their couples thing.
Yeah.
Provided that their kids don't come home with babies before they get a chance to have their own little moments.
Right, right, right.
So you and your husband are like, get to go and do all the things that other people wish that they could do. It takes all kinds of different relationships.
Absolutely.
Everybody's relationship is not built the same.
Right. Yeah.
That's amazing. Does he have siblings? Does he have siblings?
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep.
Okay.
He has a brother and a sister, and I'm the youngest of four. I have a brother and two sisters, and they all have children. So
it's still
we have nieces and
family.
nephews. And listen, this is the plan, right? So we said basically when we get old or whatever, old and we really can't help ourselves since we don't have any children, honey, we're gonna live with one of our nieces and nephews who they're gonna take care of us.
They better know. They already know. They gonna be the one. We got Auntie Deanna and Uncle Irwin.
That's right.
Boom, there it is.
There it is. That's the plan.
Plan ahead.
Yep. Oh God.
Well, I appreciate you sharing your wisdom with our audience. Because people, I'm sure you get the same kinds of questions as we do. You all were blessed to have role models, but so many people don't.
Yeah.
And this is the other thing that I'm noticing. And I don't know if you notice this, and I'm gonna end on this note.
Go ahead.
I look at a lot of the Instagram content that is supposed to be encouraging to women to be empowered and to be confident and to be clear on what they want in a relationship. But it seems like to me, some of it is pushing women to be overly
independent,
selfish,
okay,
or overly like unforgiving. Okay. And I was wondering, is it me? Because I feel like I look and I just see it like, it almost sends the vibe like if the guy does one thing that is against your whatever, cut him off. You don't gotta put up with that. You work for. Like, I wonder, are we sending messages to younger women now that you don't have to compromise to be in a relationship? Not to say that you should compromise your values or compromise, right? But are we sending the wrong message?
We can be, definitely. And I mean, it could be coming from a place of, that woman or that group of people that have been scorned by men. So it's like, you don't have to worry about him. Get your own. You don't need him, that type of narrative. But at the end of the day, and this is again my opinion, and this is my belief, I believe that there is somebody for everybody. And as you get older, you don't want to be alone. You really don't. You don't want to be alone. You want and you need a companion, as you get older, because you will get lonely. There is a fact of loneliness that happens. And, when you're in your 20s and 30s and you vibing and you doing your thing, you're not thinking about that. I don't think we probably even thought about that, although we were married at that time. But sometimes I put myself in a single woman's shoes, and I'm just like, nah, love is good. Love is there, Now, don't get me wrong. If you don't want to be married or companion, that's okay. That's okay too. Because marriage isn't for everybody.
Absolutely.
It isn't. It is not, Right. But for the ones that it is, work on it. Work on it, do whatever you can do to stay together. Again, because when you're like, fine, you're in your 40s, 50s, that's one thing. When you're 70, 75, 80 years old, yeah. So
absolutely.
So again, going back to the messages, I am seeing that. I am seeing that, the whole narrative about, like you said, he messes up once, throw him away type of thing. I don't know.
Yeah. I just worry about like people understanding that when you get into a real relationship and a lasting relationship, there is going to be a lot of compromise and a lot of growth. You're not going to find somebody that's fully perfect that's going to date you.
Ever.
Not saying, not saying like, I'm just saying, hey, we all human and we have flaws. So
of course
he's gonna make mistakes early on in the relationship. You're gonna make mistakes early on in the relationship. And you find ways to, if the person is willing to grow and change from those mistakes, then you keep going. You don't just stay ups. He ain't called me at 7, so I don't know. I blocked him.
Yeah. What is that?
I just find it interesting. I just wonder about that level of like, messaging that young women might be reading into. But then again, I'm like, I don't know, maybe it's right. And on, the flip side of that is like, if you come fully formed and fully standing in who you are, then the person that you meet is going to meet you in that way. And I'm like, hopefully that happens. If not, learn how to like find somebody that meets like all of the important parts of your checklist and figure out how to work together to get the right.
Absolutely. Yeah. You can't go into a relationship, a marriage, a companionship, whatever you want to call it, thinking that that person is perfect, because there's no such thing as the perfect person. So you have to be willing to compromise. You have to be willing to take their flaws and all, as with they need to be willing, to take yours as well.
Yeah.
So it's like a couple of fundamental things that, go into a marriage that can keep you solid, I should say, Yeah. But again, overall, you're married, I'm married. And for all the listeners who are married, we can definitely say that it's not easy. It's not easy all the time. But at the end of the day, it's a beautiful thing, especially when you see that journey.
It's worth the work.
It is so worth the work. It really is. Yeah. So I believe in the institution of marriage, big time. Big time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And and that's a big part of it too. You got to believe in marriage. You got to believe in marriage. You got to believe in your marriage and believe that at the end of the day, whatever the temporary situation is worth the work.
You got it, baby.
Yep. So on that note, as she sips her afternoon coffee, I so appreciate you coming through Art Loves Fashion today, sharing the whole episode with us to talk about your beautiful accessories business. Please follow her, share all how can people find you, follow you, and shop with you.
Okay, so I'm on social media. So Instagram, it's at Everything Luxebrand. My site is everythingluxebrandboutique.com. So, come on over. Fun things to shop, accessories, some new things are coming down the pipeline for the fall. So I can't wait to share those things with you. Okay. And also on Facebook, Everything Luxebrand.
Fantastic. So find Deanna on Instagram and Facebook. Shop. Because she's a businesswoman.
That's right. Absolutely.
And take some of these jewels that she dropped today around evolving your business, following your passion, because those were also important tidbits that you shared with us, and all the wisdom on Black love today. Yeah, on love, because that was good tidbits on whoever be doing this. So we appreciate you, and we will see you soon, and have the rest of your Sunday evening, and have a great week.
Thank you. You too. Thanks so much for having me. Bye.